We're now joined in the studio by journalist and broadcaster Andy Johnson to talk us through the front pages of the morning's papers. Andy, so what's caught your eye today?
Morning, Tom, Tiffany. I hope you noticed, everybody, I have got the Comic Relief T-shirt on. Everybody's doing a fantastic job. I've worked in journalism a long while. This is a great programme today. Well done, everybody. I thought we ought to start with talking about Comic Relief, really, yes. Tom and Tiffany. I mean, it's the 25th year. It's
25 years already?
Yeah, 25 years. They raised about £74 million last time they held it in 2011. Tonight, there's a whole host of great stuff going on. We've got Ricky Gervais reprising David Brent from The Office. Jessie J apparently shaving her hair off. A new vicar of Dibley. All sorts of great stuff going on. No doubt, up and down the country, people sitting in baths of baked beans and goodness knows what else to raise money. As, of course, we are here at the University of Salford with this great 12-hour marathon. So
exactly.
That's the story of the day, isn't it?
Definitely.
The one that caught my eye, I thought, is the funniest, really. We've all heard of excuses in railways, haven't we, about leaves on the line, the wrong kind of snow. Well, the Crossrail development in London's costing about £15 million. And what they've done, they've actually discovered what they think is a Black Death burial site underneath the development. There are 12 skeletons held there. They think there might have been 50,000 people buried during the Black Death there. So if your train's delayed in London, folks, don't worry about it. It could be the Black Death.
And don't go, digging up for skeletons and things.
Don't go digging around the railway lines.
Don't take a spade with you.
I guess the most serious story really is still the fallout from the Leveson inquiry and what's happening with that. I mean, we're seeing the real sort of fault lines appearing now in the coalition between the Lib Dems and the Tories. And of course, the Lib Dems and Labour are on one side supporting this statutory underpinning which Leveson called for in his report in November, and the Tories under David Cameron, or at least Cameron himself, saying no, he wants a royal charter and wants to vote this through and has called for a vote in the House of Commons next week.
So why do you think that is then?
Well, the interesting thing is you would assume, wouldn't you, politically, that those left of centre would be deregulation against regulation of the press. It just seems that Cameron wants to go that particular way. He doesn't want to see the press shackled or regulated in the way that Leveson has possibly called for. And of course the media campaign group Hacked Off is saying he's betrayed them and he's looking after his own friends in the media by doing this.
So what you're saying is that Cameron is looking after the interest of the newspapers as opposed to the public.
That's what his critics are saying.
Okay.
Yes, and yet Cameron is saying a free press underpins what we have as democratic society. Yeah. That's what his argument is. Labour and Lib Dems say it's gone too far. The press were drinking in the Last Chance saloon for too long. They've got to go ahead with what Leveson called for. Otherwise, it looks like the press have won, and we're not doing any more.
Now, I did see that David Miliband quoted on this, and he said that David Cameron isn't properly serving the victims that were obviously the victims of the press fiasco. And this is not a party political issue, but one of national interest. And this isn't a cross-party basis solution that is failing to work.
Well, this is what a lot of people are arguing. I mean, it's not split totally along party lines. There are people on the left and the right who don't want the press to be regulated in this way, in a sort of state way, if you like. But of course, you've had people like Hacked Off, including, of course, celebrities like Hugh Grant, who do feel this is an absolute betrayal because they've gone through this long process, this Leveson inquiry. Lots of people, including, of course, famously Millie Dowler's parents, finding that her phone was hacked. And Hugh Grant as well, calling that these people will be betrayed and feel absolutely let down unless some sort of statutory regulation is brought in. So it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. I mean, if Labour and Lib Dems actually side together, they obviously could outvote the Tories and the government on this.
This is obviously quite a disappointing result for the coalition in general. How do you think Nick Clegg is feeling about all this?
Well, I think what you're seeing now are the very early battle lines being drawn for the next election. Don't forget the coalition said it would stay together come hell or high water until 2015 when we're due a next election.
But this seems to have completely divided the two parties,
I think there are more and more divides appearing as more and more things happen. And it's whether they can now hold it together, I think, for the next couple of years until the next election. After that, it's every man for himself and they're all fighting for themselves. So very interesting stuff.
Any news on Pope Francis I today?
Well, I think the interesting thing that he said that is unless the Catholic Church, the Catholic faith is underpinned by, spiritual matters, then it could become some kind of, NGO. So he's obviously not afraid of being controversial.
Yeah.
There are questions already being asked about his past in Argentina when the military junta was in charge, and so there's already some controversy there. But I think he's not afraid to come forward and tackle some controversial issues. So it'll be interesting to see after the turmoil there's been, let's face it, in the Catholic Church in recent years.
In my opinion, it's been a complete disgrace. But I think in terms of this year's Pope, this generation's Pope maybe, he's been seen and portrayed as quite a humble man. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes, he takes the bus and things.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
normally have his Pope-mobile but in this case, he's taken a minibus with the other cardinals. You know, so maybe like this is a message to say that the Catholic Church isn't this grand royal.
Yes, hierarchical sort of situation. Yeah, he does seem to have this reputation, in fairness, doesn't he? When you read about his past, where he was a very humble man, he sat at the back of a lot of the meetings. He didn't try and push himself forward. He did see himself as a man of the people. And I guess a lot of people will welcome that and think that he's quite a humble man.
Exactly.
And this may well be something that the Catholic Church, which has gone through all sorts of controversies, we all know the various sexual allegations that have gone on across Catholic Church across the world, you know, and those things have brought real spotlight and a real shame to many Catholics. Let's face it, there's 1.2 billion Catholics across the world. They may look forward to having something like this who they feel is more a man of the people, is one of them, and is prepared to be quite humble in what is one of the most important offices in the world.
I often feel that the Vatican is often a corrupt and often rivaled place, and I hope that Pope Francis in this case can get the House of Order under control, which is now obviously a house of political intrigue.
Well, there's no doubt there's a huge amounts of pressure on him after what's happened. I mean, it's only the second time I think in history that a pope has resigned, which happened obviously just before in Pope Benedict. So he's got a lot of people looking to him to really introduce some leadership and take the Catholic faith forward after many years of turmoil and intrigue.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you.